me being passive and just being strong and pushing through it. How I got to that point or where it came from would be the molestation in my life. I was molested by my uncle. I was also raped um, several times.
Hey, champions. Allow me to introduce you to author Shanna Thomas and her Why My Mom story entitled The Lost and Found. You see, in Shanna's story, she shares her struggle with her mother not wanting to be open about who her father is and the many struggles that she faced from her childhood on up until now, not knowing who her biological father really is. I'm sure many of you out there can relate, so enjoy Shauna's story.
My name is Shanna Thomas, and this is my Why My Mom story. My story for Why My Mom is about me not knowing my father growing up and being told one thing about him and later in life finding out that that's not the case, not true. Growing up and not knowing who my father was, it definitely, I felt lost. Um, I felt incomplete. I felt like I didn't belong. Um, I actually felt like being in a room with thousands of people and I wasn't noticed. Did my mother know who my father was? Yes, I believe she did. Um, at this point in time, I don't know if age has to do with her remembering, but she's made it clear that she does not want to discuss anything that has happened or took place with him. Um, Also, I was told one particular name growing up, and as I went through my trial with cancer, found out that possibly that's not the name that she's been telling me all my life. And she doesn't know the information that I know about it. When I was letting her know that I was writing the book, um, she just blurts out, "That's the name he gave me." So that confirmed what I was already thinking, knowing, searching. If he was in the Army Reserves, there should be some kind of record of him, and there is none. So, how does it make me feel knowing that my mother knows the truth and won't share it with me? Whew. In the beginning of this project, angry, infuriated, pissed off, ready to blow up everything, cuss you out, the whole nine. Um, Now some of that anger has subsided. It's still there um, because I service my mother. Take her where she has to go, do things for her, and not trying to boast about that, but I do my part. I know as a child, this is what I should do for my mother. She was there for me. Um, but there's a piece that makes me feel like, here I am doing these things for you, and you can't do this one thing for me. One thing I'm asking for. Whether you think I should or not, whether you agree, I feel that that's not your place. Um, Maturity moment, I understand now that maybe she made the decision to protect me, to save me, and I get that. But now I will be 42 years old, I don't feel that that's her decision anymore. And I don't want to judge her and do those things, but I believe that I have a right to know. The traumatic moment that happened in my life that I recall about my dad was me asking one day, "Mom, can we call my dad?" And she was like, "Okay." And I can't quite remember how old I was, maybe 4 or 5 years old. I remember going in the kitchen, sitting at the table, and she's on the phone, that ugly yellow phone with that long cord. And I'm just sitting there, anxious, excited, like, oh, I'm going to talk to my dad. Like, I've never talked to my dad. I'm going to talk to him today. And we sat there for a while, and he never came to the phone. She was calling his job, and they put her on hold. And they finally came back and said that he no longer works there. And that was devastating. And the B part to that is now, honestly, I feel like, was he ever on the phone? Or did you ever call his job? I really don't know. Me being passive and just being strong and pushing through it, how I got to that point or where it came from would be the molestation in my life. I was molested by my uncle. I was also raped several times. So those things, they shut me down. They quieted my voice. I can recall a time of going to the doctor and the children's hospital, and there was this big area where, you know, kids would sit and play, like steps that went down into the ground. And I would just sing. My mother said that I would talk to anybody and I would just sing and do those things. And after a while, because of what took place, and ultimately I know that my uncle who abused me pumped fear in me. You better not tell. This between us. If you do this, I'm going to do this to you. I will hurt your mother. I will hurt who you love. And then he would sweetly say to me, you know, I love you, right? And out of this process too, I realized that revelation came of, that's why I always associated sex with love. Always. If I had sex with you, that meant you loved me. And I want to be loved because my father wasn't there. The truth that I would say to a woman who is searching for love in all the wrong places, I'm going to be real, I'm still there. I am still there. But this project and the little things that I've been doing to write down how I feel and what I've gone through, knowing that it's going to help someone else, ultimately it's helping me first, even as I'm doing it. So I encourage that woman to not be afraid, that it's okay to talk about it, to let it out, and you do what's best for you. If you got to kick and scream, you got to do that. Go into the car and just hollering, help me. The depression that you deal with, you have those days where you don't want to get out of bed, don't get out of bed. I learned that from Q-Tip. Do what you have to do. It's going to be ugly, it's scary, but ultimately, again, for me to look at my mother now in a different light, although I'm still upset and angry, it softened it some, and it is healing me.
Do you hate your mom?
I don't hate her now. Did I? When I went through this process of trying to figure out who and all of that, yeah. Like how especially knowing that she didn't want to help me. That in itself was like, yo, for real? Okay.
Have you forgiven her yet?
Not fully. Right now I'm at I understand her side phase. Because it is not just about my trauma. I had to realize too, again, she went through something that clearly has to be horrible, that she does not want to talk about it. So just as I'm asking people to respect the fact that I want to share, I have to respect the fact that she don't want to share.
Yes.
And hopefully in my sharing, she may. That's the other element of it ain't just for you.
Yeah.
What my day-to-day looks like as a salon owner and stylist, master stylist at Salon Sophistique is I get up excited now. I get up ready to go. I feel like I found my purpose, or I should say not found it, more confident with it, much more confident. So it's like, what will you have me do today? What will I say today? Just to put a smile on someone's face or make them feel better. One thing that I love that God does through me is, because it's not me, it's straight Him. A woman can just say something as simple as, when I say, oh, you look beautiful today. Or you can just sense they don't really believe that. Like they'll say thank you, but the way they say thank you. And then I'll come back like, girl, you do. I'm telling you, you do. I'm like, okay. And I know that because I know it for myself. I've experienced that. Didn't feel beautiful.
I'll be your hero. I'll be your strength when you need it most. You don't have to be alone. I'll be there, keep holding on. You don't have to worry, don't be scared. Love has never failed you yet. I'll be your hero.
The message I have for my mother in my current state now is I'm grateful that I finally am able to look from your side, which is pain, which is trauma, which is the unknown fear, because I've experienced it myself. And I just want to say to you, Mom, that I love you in spite of, no matter how hard this has been and how it's been for years. I respect you in the sense of whatever decision you felt was best at the time. I respect you for that. And yet I'm still in it right now, so that's where I am right now.
I'll be your hero.